I've made a ton of builds throughout my time as a Deepwoken content creator, but this time, I think I made one of my favorite builds of all time. A lot of people in the Deepwoken community make mantra-based mage builds using Flame Charm, Frost Draw, or Shadowcast, and it makes sense. These three attunements have great range, deal absurd damage, and are honestly very easy to use. With all of these apparent upsides, you know I had to be unique and say no to this, because instead, my mantra mage build revolved around Galebreath. I've shown off a little bit of my drip in other videos, but let's talk about it right now. For some reason, I decided to go with a blue theme using the Hollowtide Adret and edgy mercenary drip, and I dyed my outfit to match perfectly with my druid wizard hood, which is actually a hair that looks really cool. But yeah, I don't really know why I decided to pick blue when I was using a green sword, but that brings us to our weapon. Of course, the essential tool of any mage is a hero blade of their primary element. Although I made use of other attunement abilities, Galebreath worked the best for me, so I picked it up. Hero swords do absurd damage and their crits are very useful, and I thought so too. With the Gale hero sword, you can push people away or punish vents with the crit, but I don't like using it. I think this weapon needs a sound effect when I actually hit the crit, but it works well enough. My stats are pretty basic, but I spent a lot of points on intelligence with my dual element setup. Galebreath, of course, is my primary source of damage, while Thundercall is used for a very specific combo that works well. All I gotta say is that this build deals insane damage while having good HP. The entire goal of this mage build was to deal absurd mantra damage, and as you can see, I'm shredding people with my Galebreath multi-hits, but you have to work for these. Instead of throwing out a mantra like Flame Charm that will always hit, instead we aim carefully and are rewarded greatly for doing so. Right off the bat, you probably noticed that my traits revolve around Song Chant, and this trait is actually pretty decent right now, and each upgrade will buff mantra scaling by 5% and increase mantra pen by the same amount. Instantly, we already have a bonus 30% mantra pen, and that's great. After this, I chose the new intelligence talent, Approaching Singularity, which gives us 10% bonus mantra pen for having 100 intelligence, so you know, why not? To finish off and max out our mantra pen at 50%, I'm using the Prophet's Cloak, which grants us a bonus 25% using mantras. In total, we have a bonus 50% mantra pen, but we can't really go over that cap without high strength, so this is all we have. Mantra penetration bypasses resistance, but now our spell damage gets even crazier as well. For bonus mantra damage, I chose an Ishin's Ring and a Ring of Casters. The Ishin's lets us deal more damage at the cost of being vulnerable, but it's alright since we have good HP. Ring of Casters also buffs our mantra by 10% at the cost of weapon damage, and that's also okay. If I'm at full HP, this rarely happens, all my mantra damage deals 1.25 times damage using Perfect Flash. This again, never really happens, but it can be crazy. Charismatic Cast and Tough Love allow us to deal an extra 10% while hitting a charmed enemy, and that's very easy to do. Ether Conduit lets us build up inspiration stacks, which also buff our mantra damage if we get hurt. Essentially, we deal more damage with our mantras when we get hit by other people's mantras. Of course, Inhale and World Without Song are perfect options for a Galebreath build because we get more damage when fainting mantras and basically free status effects. We can stack on passive damage with Suffocate and empower our mantras very easily. After this, my final talent that combined both Galebreath and Thundercall was Stormlink. I talked about this hybrid talent in detail before, but I think it's better than I thought, and we'll see why. It applies both Gale and Thunder damage. It can be very overwhelming with mantras, and it could stun people and makes weird noise, and I think it does more damage, but I'm not really sure based on my own testing. Again, this is a mage build, so let's get right into the mantras. The first mantra I picked was Death Mist or Tornado Kick. This name is very fitting because, well, each projectile does so much damage and people can easily get hit by them. It's pretty good at sniping targets and deals a lot of damage at range, and if you miss a parry, you're gonna lose a lot of your HP. Next, I chose Cloudfall or Heavenly Wind. Heavenly Wind is one of the highest damage mantras in the entire game, just off a singular hit. It does so much damage and we jump up and slam down, crashing into the enemies below us. Now here's where it gets ridiculous. Tornado, named Wind Tomb, packs up anybody in its hitbox. It's legitimately a Wind Tomb because if you're stuck inside, you're losing half your HP or just dying. Although I modified this mantra with 4 Glass Stones, 4 Eternal Log Stones, and 4 Magnifying Stones, I think the only thing it buffs is damage, but I'm not sure. My first and only Thundercall mantra, Fog Piercer, is our Grand Javelin to break up all that Galebreath spam. People don't really expect this mantra if I'm spamming tornadoes all day, and it's a great pressure tool. Burst Wind, our wind gun shotgun spam, is cool, and I use it to push people away. It instantly suffocates anybody, but you can only use this at close range, so be careful. It's alright, and it's very fun to use. Our Ghastly Gale, Gale Wisp, floats around and makes it easier to proc Haunted Gale for bonus damage, and that's really about it. I do appreciate the green particles because it's kind of hard to see with this super dark outfit when I'm fighting in like a nighttime map, so that's good. Gust Blade, my Gale Lunge, is optimal for approaching targets at range and applying pressure. Usually this doesn't really do that much damage, but with all my pen and mantra buffs, it's actually pretty damn good for dealing damage. And now, one of my favorite new mantras, Gale Trap. I named this Fog Hush because it silences and it's really edgy. Well, I'm addicted to this mantra because it's so good. During a parry trade, you can hit this for free, and it ends the parry trade because they can't block. Its posture damage, annoying particles, and suffocation effect mess up people, and it's very fun to use. That's all for my abilities. Now check out my entire talent list. That's about it, and let's see how effective this Gale slinging Thunder Mage does in combat. I had so much fun testing out these new hybrid talents, and of course, I'll be making more builds in the future. Tell me down below which character or talents I should check out, and you know, as always, make sure to like and subscribe because we're almost at 50,000 subscribers. Have a good one.